We've all had at least one strange coworker in our lives. Let me tell you about mine. I used to work as an analyst for this agency. When I first started, there wasn't enough cubicles for everyone, so they ended up putting me in a small office with another employee. This other employee was quite the character. He wore the same exact clothes every day, and he often smelt pretty bad. He would find any excuse to talk about whatever strange things he was into. A lot of people in the office thought he was pretty weird. He was definitely a strange guy, but who was I to judge? I try to treat people with respect regardless of how strange they might be. After all, we are all a little weird in our own way. Anyway, this guy would always be wiping his nose with his hands. I figured he had some kind of allergy problem, but then I realized that every time he wiped his nose, it would be bleeding profusely. One time he caught me staring at him as he wiped his nose. I asked him if he was okay. He began explaining he had sensitive blood vessels in his nose, which caused his nose to bleed easily. I felt really bad for him until I noticed that he would start licking the remaining blood off his hands. It was really gross and weird. But hey, as long as he kept to himself, we wouldn't have a problem. Anyway, one day I was working on a document on my computer, and he was again wiping his nose. I was having some issues with the document, and he must have sensed my frustration. He bolted out of his chair to help me and grabbed my mouse to navigate through the document. I appreciated his help, but I was left mortified when I realized he had blood all over his hands and he was touching my mouse. At this point, I didn't know what to do. I wanted to lay into him, but he seemed like he genuinely wanted to help me. He was also a really strange guy, and I just got the feeling that he lacked self-awareness. Getting mad at him wasn't an option, but I did need to talk to him about the blood situation. We had some disinfectant wipes outside the office, and I was just going to grab some and wipe down my mouse. I felt that if I did that without saying anything, he might take it the wrong way. So I ended up grabbing the wipes and I told him, "Hey man, thanks again for the help. I'm just going to wipe this down." When I said that, I can tell he didn't take it very well. He then gave me an attitude and asked me, "Why?" At this point, he basically gave me the green light to be upfront about it, so I told him that I'm aware that he has a medical issue, but it's not sanitary to get blood on things. He got really quiet for a moment and said sorry. I told him no problem, and we basically sat in awkward silence for the remaining 5 hours of our shift. The next day, I had an appointment in the morning, so I started my shift a little late. When I got to my desk, I noticed a big streak of blood across my monitor. It was obvious that this guy did it out of spite, and I knew that streak wasn't there yesterday. Even though I was certain it was him, I didn't really have any significant proof to report him. I asked him about it, and he said he had no idea how that all happened. During the day, I was having lunch in my break room, and one of my supervisors was there. I asked him if it was possible to move me to another desk. He told me they had no other place to put me, and he asked me why I was asking. I explained the situation to him, and he said he didn't doubt that the guy did it, but I had no proof that he did. My supervisor said he can't just go up to the guy and accuse him of something without any real evidence. I realized I was at a loss, and I just let it go. Fortunately for me, I got offered another job, so I ended up leaving. Till this day, I wonder about that guy. Have you guys ever had any strange coworkers? Share your story in the comments.